All right, hello guys.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Anime Anarchy. I'm Chance, and this is Sean.
I'm Sean.
And Reese is around here somewhere. I'm sure he'll pop around at some point.
He's being a menace today.
Yeah, being very bad dog.
He's just all over the place, and he's really trying to mess with our podcast again. You know, he thinks it's his job to just run into all the cords like he's doing right now
Yep,
and knock over the camera, jump on us, whine,
yep.
but he's just a puppy.
Yeah, we'll make do somehow.
Yeah. So we just watched episode 11 of Vigilantes.
Yep.
But not only that, but I'm just going to start out with this. Okay. We had like this, what, kind of like an epiphany, but when I was watching the main show, right? I'm still watching the main show. Reese, I swear to God.
Reese.
When I was watching the main show, since season 5, they came into contact with Trigger. Okay, and before this, I didn't think or know that the main show would have anything about Trigger. But these villains, I guess it was these pirates that they came into contact with. It was Froppy and Uravity.
Yeah, their internship.
Yeah, well, it was like a work study. It was their work study. They were with who's the dragon girl? Ryu something.
Yeah,
She can turn into a dragon. But they basically assisted the seal guy. Was his name Wet Seal or something like that?
Yeah, good name.
And because Trigger was involved and with these pirates basically. And so that got us thinking like, okay, there's got to be more of a connection between these two shows that we didn't anticipate before.
And keep in mind, we're both doing our first real watch of My Hero Academia, as well as neither of us have read the manga for My Hero or for Vigilantes. So this is all kind of new to us for the most part. I had already seen like the first 3 seasons of the show before we started watching Vigilantes, but I'm only now catching back up. I did a rewatch of the first 3 seasons, and now I'm going forward with the last 4. He's at the end of season 5 right now, so he's a little bit ahead of me.
6.
You're in season 6 already?
Beginning of season 6. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've been binging the
Mr.
crap out.
Anime over here.
Yeah. Well, so we're kind of thinking that like maybe, and I told you there's usually no such thing as coincidences, right?
Yeah.
So we're thinking maybe either Koichi, Knuckleduster, or Pop Step, or all 3, or somebody from the Vigilante show is going to pop up in season 8 because season 8 has yet to come out, and it just so happens that Vigilante has just decided to come out.
So what I'm and again, like, I haven't read the manga for either series. And I know that there's a different author for both series too, right? So like the guy who made Vigilantes kind of had to stay within the framework of what was going on in the original manga, but Vigilantes started and ended before My Hero actually ended the manga. So, I mean, the story wasn't even complete yet.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that with the anime inclusion of the Vigilantes and with the new, the last season of My Hero, the anime has a opportunity that the mangas might not have had, where they can directly tie the two things in together a little bit more, like, obviously, a little bit more overtly. Even if like Koichi or Knuckleduster didn't appear at the end of the My Hero manga, they could very well appear in the last season of the anime, because they like to often make differences between the anime and the manga,
which would be sick. I think that would be awesome, especially being able to see like how they've progressed in the. Well, now it's about 6 years
Yeah,
since Vigilantes actually like happened.
and I think it makes a lot of sense to like that would make a lot of sense as to why you would release this the Vigilantes only months before the final season of My Hero is going to drop. You
Right.
know, like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're thinking on that. I was just so like when I saw that Trigger was involved, I texted Chance immediately. I was
Yep.
like, "Oh my God, like this is happening." So since we're basically covering both the shows right now, I mean, it's if they're actually become like connected in that way, and there's like some sort of cameo involved,
Yeah.
that would be super sick.
Yeah, we'll need to clip this and then make sure to post it again if when season 8 comes
Yeah.
out if they show up.
Even
Like, we
even
called
if we're extremely wrong, but
Oh yeah.
we can do it anyway. But yeah, so this episode 11, uh, I guess the beginning of it kind of felt like a filler episode, right? Because they were
Yeah,
getting ready for this like event
I
for
I
Captain
literally I
Celebrity.
literally looked over him and I was like, with the way that season 10 ended with
Episode 10.
yeah, I'm sorry, not season 10. Yeah, with the way episode 10 ended with Knuckleduster seemingly about to confront the bee user, Queen Bee.
Right.
It made you think that episode 11 was going to be super like action packed and real. I don't know, like a lot of stuff happening.
Right.
But then we spend the first half of the episode getting ready for this concert, this collaboration concert with Pop Step
Yeah.
and some other musical artists. Um, I guess it had something to do with Captain Celebrity, a
Yeah, it's
commercial with
basically
him.
like an event for
Yeah,
Captain Celebrity, and which that's the only reason why Pop Step really agreed to it was
right.
because like most eyes will probably be on Captain Celebrity, so because she's never like performed on a big stage,
Yeah,
but either way, so it was kind of boring. They were all just kind of meeting everybody, especially what was her Ma- Makoto.
yeah, Makoto,
Makoto is the PR person for Captain Celebrity, so she was
like
basically
organizing the event.
in charge of all this, and so we of course got to meet like the other performers. There was like a band and
Yeah,
then
there was
some
a
dancers, uh, and then like also like these two girls that were going to be performing with Pop Step.
yeah, not a super interesting subplot though. I mean, all it was just the two other dancers. They're a duo, and they were like, "Oh, well, we're a little bit bigger than her, and we're better dancers and singers than her, so like we don't really want to share the stage with her." And then it was Pop Step kind of trying to come to grips with the fact that she didn't really think that she belonged there anyway,
Yeah.
and also the fact that she was not wanted there by the other two.
Right.
And then one of them twists an ankle and can't do the rest of the show.
Yep.
So they're having to try and figure out a way that they can rework the routine with one of them not dancing, and
It's all
it just
it's
wasn't
all interesting stuff.
it just wasn't good. It just wasn't fun.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I wasn't. And then Koichi had like 3 lines. Like,
Yeah, and he's supposedly the manager of Pop Step, but that's what he's playing as. But yeah, it was filler. But then then it
yeah.
gets interesting.
Good stuff.
So we have if you guys have seen the show or you've seen our past episodes, let's recall the disgusting guy that turns into an eel just so he can slither on Pop Step and just like
Yeah, he was, and this was like in the first 3 episodes of the show.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, this guy, he takes Trigger. He's basically a huge fan of Pop Step and wants to like he said give her a handshake, and then it turns out once he turns into his giant eel, that he wants to do more than give her a handshake. And this dude's probably, even though he looks like he's 8, he's probably like 30 years old.
Yeah, because you never know.
So that's a little weird. It's odd because she's only 14, 15. So we actually get to see him again in this episode, but he's morphed like a lot more.
Yeah,
So
I guess they gave him a lot more Trigger.
So he is like He
like a
kind of
giant
looks like a
now.
shark, but he's still an eel.
Yeah,
But he has like legs.
yeah,
He's still slimy, but now he can use like electricity, kind of like an electric eel.
yeah.
And guess who runs into him?
So Eraserhead is just walking down the street, thinking to himself how it's been too quiet the last few days and he wants some action.
Yep.
And then he just hears somebody scream, "Help, there's a villain." And
He's
he
like,
just
"Oh,
gets
okay."
super excited. He's like, "Hell yeah, they were listening to me."
Mm-hmm.
Shows up. He wraps him up in his bandage wraps or whatever, and he tries to deactivate the guy's quirk, but I guess he couldn't.
No, he said I guess it's not a temporary form, so I'm guessing the trigger permanently deformed him.
So but that kind of makes me wonder though. So like he doesn't know really anything or like not much about Trigger. I don't know if he necessarily knew this guy was being powered up by Trigger, right? So
Yeah,
I'm wondering. So I'm wondering though, does he have? So he's been fighting crime for years. The way he said this must not be a temporary form makes me think, okay, he's encountered other quirks he can't deactivate before. So is it just like if whatever your quirk is just a constant state of being, maybe he can't deactivate? Like dog. If your quirk is dog and you're like a dog head,
can't turn him back
I guess
into
he
a
can't.
person.
Yeah. Or if you're Windex man, I guess you're just still a Windex bottle.
Oh, I finally saw Washing Machine Man.
You saw Washing Machine
He's
Man.
number 8 now on the Billboard.
Number 8 for
the hero.
Is he a pro?
List. Yes,
he's the number
he's
8
number
pro.
8. Yep, number 8.
That's insane. What kind of world are we living in?
I don't know. When they a couple of the UA students did their work studies with him in these past few.
That kind of makes me think like how terrible are the heroes in Japan in My Hero if so All Might is the number 1 and Endeavor's number 2, but Endeavor himself has said multiple times what a huge gap of like skill and power there is just between him and All Might, right? Mm-hmm. So then what's the gap between Endeavor and Washing Machine Man? That seems pretty high, right?
Yes.
So like how terrible are the Japanese heroes that Washing Machine Man is in top 10?
Well, you have to remember that it's not only power.
No, I get it. Why would he be popular?
I guess because he washes your clothes.
Washes crime?
Washes, I don't know what he does exactly.
Like,
I haven't seen him
after a rescue, like, oh, you come out looking so much more clean.
Yeah,
like,
I haven't seen him in action, but apparently the people love him. He's like a crowd favorite. I think that's the only reason why he's in the top 10.
I cannot imagine in any world where Washing Machine Man is in the top 10.
Yeah, he is. He's number 8.
Do you know what rank Commonwealth Woods is? He's top 10, right?
He moved up, I think. I think he was probably like 5 or 4 or 5 maybe.
So who's a pro hero that we've seen that isn't in the top 10 but Washing Machine Man is? Aizawa's not top 10.
I think the Seal guy is Aizawa's not in the top 10.
So Eraserhead is not top 10. The Batman of this universe almost who can cut off your powers. He's not top 10, but Washing Machine
He's also not, well, he's still working as a pro hero, I guess, but are the teachers able to be?
I don't know, I guess.
I don't think so.
Well, why not? All Might was the number 1 hero and he was teaching at the school.
After all that.
No.
He started teaching even after he was number 1 is what I'm saying. Then he started teaching but they weren't going to do another.
Yeah, but Eraserhead was a pro hero for years before he became a teacher also. So he would have had a ranking even before he became a teacher.
I don't know. But the Seal guy, he's like I don't even know if he's ranked.
Is he a seal? Is that what
his quirk is like a spotted seal, which he's actually really good.
Okay.
Because he can use his like clicks for like sonar.
Well, that's so much more and
he's also very strong and he can like.
Sure, he can swim well.
Yes.
So already much better than Washing Machine Man. Like what the?
Yeah. So I don't really like the rankings. But either way, it's we'll talk about that more later.
That's crazy.
What were we talking about before we went into that rabbit hole?
I'm just stuck on Washing Machine Man being number 8 best hero in Japan.
You'll see.
That's crazy. Okay.
But Endeavor's number 1. So, and then Hawks is number 2.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Hawks is pretty badass. I will say that. He's got a lot of stuff he can do with those feathers.
Hawks is gonna shake things up,
and
in about a season. Though.
He's also the mole. He's basically undercover within the Liberation Army.
Hawks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because he's really good at surveillance. And
you're
stuff like
gonna. I don't know if you know what happens with Hawks when he's undercover, but you're gonna have some conflicted feelings. I'm sure.
Okay. Either way, so we were talking about the eel guy, in Eraserhead, right? And how he couldn't turn off. I mean, maybe he could turn off the electricity situation, because when he did the electricity, Zawa, he wasn't like doing his quirk. He wasn't looking at it, or doing that whole thing. So maybe, of course, his body was deformed and he couldn't erase that, but maybe he could erase the electricity.
Maybe.
But yeah, this dude causes like an electrical outburst and cuts off the power pretty much to the whole city.
Yeah.
And then this is while they're trying to do the event.
Yeah.
And so, of course, everybody's like, what the fuck? Of course, I knew that. I was kind of thinking that something during the event's going to happen. I mean, that's what always happens.
I mean, yeah. Something has to interrupt everything.
Thank God, because it was going to be such a boring episode if nothing happened.
It really was.
Yeah. So,
but even that wasn't what I wanted to happen.
No.
I wanted to see Knuckleduster beat somebody up.
All right, so something... After that, okay, something crazy happened that kind of blew our minds a little bit. So last episode, we saw Queen Bee, eating a meal with her dead parents in her house, and because she had killed her parents.
Instead of starting to stink in there, she was thinking about moving.
Come to find out, Knuckleduster finally reaches her and confronts her on the rooftop of this building, and he's talking to her like she is his daughter.
Yes, like Knuckleduster's daughter.
Knuckleduster's daughter. What the fuck? Where? How does that even? Where does that come into play? Okay, we thought that her parents were dead, but Chance and I were discussing this earlier. Maybe she's just so much of a psychopath that she just broke into some random people's house and killed them and just started living with them with their dead bodies. And maybe she was just calling them mom and dad.
Right. Just because she's a little loose screwed.
A little?
Yeah, but I don't know. Or I don't know, something that Knuckleduster said kind of rung some bells in my head. He said, he addressed her as both bee user and also his daughter, but almost like they were separate entities. So I'm wondering if what if the body that is being inhabited by the bees is actually a puppet of the bees, right? Or she's possessed in some way or form. So maybe that is Knuckleduster's daughter, but being possessed by somebody else.
And I'm guessing All For One has something to do with it because they're working closely together. She was just on the phone with All For One when Knuckleduster started confronting her.
Yeah, she was still on the phone with him when he got there.
So in here it says, and this is, some fandom. It says, Knuckleduster's daughter, or the girl was, hold on. I was absolutely right. The bees being used by an actual villain and the girl's just being a puppet. I had suspicions that the girl was Knuckleduster's daughter, blah, blah, blah. Basically saying that Knuckleduster wasn't okay with wrecking his daughter's body, but he started getting to that point for the sake of, getting to the villain that's controlling her. So I'm guessing this is the Anime News Network.
Who's that quoting?
Let's see. It is Mr. AJ Cosplay. So basically it's just his take on this, but it makes a lot of sense, right? So All For One can pretty much do anything, right? We've seen that. There's no limit to his power.
Whatever he's collected anyway.
And I'm guessing he was using the other girl that we saw in the last episode, what has a pocket pussy, for bee or pocket dimension in her vagina
Yeah.
to have bees come out. I'm guessing he was just doing the same thing to her, right? That makes a lot more sense too. I was just using them as like mind puppets, you know. And
So you think both of the girls are being possessed?
I think so.
Okay, rather than one of them being in on it.
I think so.
Okay.
Uh,
I wouldn't be surprised because like manipulation and like from the shadows seems to be the villain's like MO this show, you know, like there seems to be a lot of that. Like they're really not because they're not ready to hit the spotlight yet, you know.
Yeah.
Now I don't know either if everything happening right now, if this is before or after All for One's confrontation with All Might, the one that left All Might with the hole in his stomach.
Yeah. Since we haven't heard anything about it yet, I would imagine that it's before.
But remember, All Might specifically said that he kept that fight was not in the news. Like the public never knew about it.
Oh, right. That is true.
So only like a few top heroes and government officials even knew that All Might was injured.
Well, I really hope not, because I want to see it.
Yeah.
So just for that sake, I'm gonna say no. It's not after that happened, but
I hope not either.
But I guess it's not necessarily the girl that's a psychopath. It's whoever's controlling her is a psychopath, which is probably All for One or somebody that's working for All for One. But it's crazy. Knuckleduster. So Queen Bee put Knuckleduster's wife in the hospital, right? Like,
yeah,
no,
seems like it.
Like, there's no way that she's going to recover. Apparently, that's what the doctors are saying. But she's also in the body of his daughter, I guess their daughter. So what a fucked up thing Knuckleduster has to deal with. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because we talked about how he was using Koichi and Popstep, basically using them to get to Queen Bee and therefore probably All for One, which he probably doesn't know about yet. But if I was in his shoes, I think I would do the same thing, to be honest with you. You know, just do anything necessary to get to who did this to my family. You know what I mean?
So even if that was like your wife?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess I kind of have to agree though to a point because like, you know, at a certain point you gotta
stop thinking about it.
Because I mean they're almost kind of like gone either way. It seems like maybe you can save them, but like either way you have to stop them. You know?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Knuckleduster is definitely in a predicament. He probably shouldn't be doing this alone.
No, definitely not. But I mean, what could Koichi and Popstep realistically do? You know, he would have to probably get pro heroes to be involved. But if that happens, then there's going to be a whole bunch of red tape, and then they'd probably kick him off of it because he's a vigilante.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they're not really much of fighters at this point. They're really more support people. You know, they're just kind of doing rescues and stuff, but they're not much of fighters.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, they're still trying to figure out their quirks. You know, so it makes sense.
And most of the time when there's a villain attack, they're not fighting the villain. They're either rescuing civilians or they're distracting the villain until pros arrive.
Yeah.
Or until Knuckleduster beats the villain.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but this episode did leave us on a crazy cliffhanger because Knuckleduster confronts Queen Bee. Queen Bee runs away because she couldn't like mess with him with her bees. It was basically like he found that she has a limit to how much she can use her bees, right?
Or at the very least, like certain like special bees, like the bomb bees.
Because these were like bomb bees, bomb bees. Sorry, that sounded funny. So so now he's chasing her, and then that's it, right? That's all we get. So huge cliffhanger for the next episode. I'm really hoping that the next episode is not filled with a bunch of fluff and crap, because there's a lot of stuff a lot of important stuff that's actually happening right now that we really need to see, and we don't need all that filler. But I mean, what was your overall take on the second half of the episode?
Second half was a lot better than the first half. Still not enough Captain Celebrity. Bring in more Captain Celebrity.
Oh god, Mr. Ego. So yeah, we did see him like fighting another like kaiju. It was like basically like a huge like botfly look like, or like a worm something. You know, like kind of like a botfly larva. That's kind of what it looked like, but it was huge. Then of course, you know, everybody was like fangirling over him and stuff. But that's all we got to see of Captain Celebrity this episode. Which I was kind of fine with because he's kind of a prick, you know.
I think Captain Celebrity is just Homelander, but if Homelander was a little less mentally unstable.
Yeah, it's very true. If he was more of an adult.
If he was just a little bit like less grown in a lab and more like at least had a family,
Right.
even if they weren't a great one, like, you know,
100%.
Just like a regular ish person, just with a huge ego and like celebrity complex.
Yep. And I don't think Captain Celebrity kills people. Or yeah, kind of like Homelander does. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it.
At least not yet.
Yeah, doesn't seem.
Maybe
like
if it was for the sake of like his image, maybe he would. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you for the follow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't see what that says.
Zerio. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I know we're doing this on a random Tuesday, but because of our work schedules, it's kind of all we have right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping to one. We like to get it where we're doing on the weekends eventually, but
yeah. But we've been talking about My Hero Academia Vigilantes. This has been episode 11.
Yep. We're just kind of giving our take on the episode so far and kind of what we think's going to happen next episode.
Yep. So next episode, do you think Knuckleduster is going to catch up to Queen Bee, or is she going to escape in the shadows?
I don't know. I mean, I would definitely like to have them have a confrontation, even if she is going to escape in the end. I want them to have some kind of confrontation that gives us a little bit more like exposition about what he meant by that. Like, what do you mean?
Give us some
what do you mean,
background.
daughter? You know, like, yeah, I need to know more about that. I think that like they need to have some kind of confrontation and like conversation about what he's talking about. But I do think she's going to get away in the end.
Yeah, I think so.
Or if she doesn't, then we're going to find out, oh yeah, she is just a puppet and there's plenty of other like B girls doing All for One's bidding.
Right. So we've seen 2 so far. That would make sense. But we really need background on Knuckleduster's family life. Because shit, we didn't know he had a wife until the other episode, and shit, we definitely didn't know that he had a daughter until this episode. Oh, yeah, we did know that.
I didn't know it was 25. It was 50 when I made affiliate on my personal channel.
50.
Yeah,
okay.
It was 50 a couple months ago.
Well,
I'm an affiliate on my personal page, but just not on the podcast page yet. Plug in, go follow Chancellor McDudley on Twitch, everybody.
Games and stuff like that.
Yeah, do video games and other stuff.
He's cool, I guess. But and I will say, and we'll get back to the topic at hand here in a minute. But I will say, we talked about this in the last couple episodes. We will start streaming us gaming.
Yeah, we're gonna pick a few other days throughout the week because we play together anyway, so we may as well just start streaming the times when we do play together.
Right.
You just got to get that set up on your Xbox with the podcast Twitch account.
Yeah,
because I'm not disconnecting my personal from mine.
I wouldn't.
And you don't stream yourself anyway, so yeah, this makes sense.
But yeah,
you'll get to be the face of the podcast.
That's right. Thank you for that knowledge.
Yeah, I had no idea it was 25 people now.
Makes things easier.
Yeah, that definitely makes things a lot easier. Now, it was still 3 average viewers. Is it still 8 hours? 8 hours a month that needs to be streamed? I would imagine so, but we can check later if they don't know.
Yeah, probably. But, so we talked about episode 11. and there wasn't much to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Shigaraki.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. I haven't gotten yet to the My Villain Academia arc of season 5 where of My Hero Academia, where you get the origin stories for several of the villains, but he played for me part of the origin for Shigaraki when I got over here today, and my God, does nobody else, very few people in the world have a better excuse for being a villain than Shigaraki, because the way I would have also become the biggest villain, like after that happening to me,
Dude.
like that's crazy.
But yeah, so Shigaraki, showed you the origin story of his, and this dude, like I said, no wonder he is a villain.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, his father kept beating the shit out of him because he wanted to be a hero so bad, but he didn't have his quirk yet at 5 years old. And his father was like, okay, well, you're probably going to be quirkless, so don't even talk about hero shit in our house.
Well, I think it would have been the same even if he did have a quirk, because of the resentment that he had towards his own mother for being a hero and abandoning the family.
Yeah, which, if you don't know, Shigaraki's grandmother is All Might's master, right? She's the one that gave All Might One for All, like passed it down to him and kind of trained him and all that stuff. So she was away for, I guess, for a long time because she was a hero off fighting battles and whatnot. And she ended up having to basically abandon her family, abandon her son, which is Shigaraki's father, because I'm guessing All for One was after her and she didn't want to come after
to get to her family.
So
yeah, we'll definitely check out the Instagram after the pod, man, for sure.
So basically, he already has a bad taste in his mouth about heroes, right? And Shigaraki just wanted to be a hero like All Might, just like a lot of kids wanted to be at that time. And he had, this skin condition, which we've seen already, that he itches when things get like stressful for him. And it's like when he's not free to do what he wants, that's when he starts getting itchy. And so finally his quirk manifests, right? While he's petting his dog.
Yeah,
and this dude's quirk is basically like disintegration, right? Like this dude will disintegrate anything that he touches, or anything that touches something that he's disintegrating. Let's say the ground, or let's say you're on top of a tree and he disintegrates the tree. You're going to get disintegrated as well. This dog literally crumbles into like a...
It was absolutely terrible.
And this little 5-year-old is just looking at himself, like screaming, like, what the hell just happened? And he thought it was like some sort of villain. He didn't know that he could do it himself. He's never had a quirk before. Then his sister comes out and is going to like apologize to him for, tattling on him and like earlier to his father, just so she wouldn't get in trouble. And she sees the pool of dog.
Yeah.
And she starts running away. Shigaraki comes running and tries to like catch up to her and like, I guess like wants to talk to her and say like, hey, hold on, you want to apologize or something like that. Grabs her, she disintegrates into a pool of flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And then when his hands are on the ground, his like family comes out and sees what happened, and he starts disintegrating like the whole ground underneath the like house and everything, and
so
all of his family members.
Kills his mom, her parents.
Yep. And then his dad comes out, but when his dad comes out, he has so much built up resentment for him that he is like, okay, jump and die.
No, I mean, not at first. At first, he was trying to apologize, and he said, he didn't mean to do any of this, and he asked his dad for help, and so his dad attacked him, and
hit him in the face with some sort of
pole or something.
Yeah,
looked like a stick,
lawn utensil.
Yeah.
And so he jumps up at him.
Yeah, so this was Shigaraki's first intent to kill. So all the other family members,
Or an
It's
accident.
definitely an accident of him not being able to control this new quirk yet. But when he did it to his father, that was completely on purpose, because he was ready to kill that man.
So not only that, but he destroyed the entire house that his father built, which was kind of like a symbol that, like, hey, I was, I guess, trapped in a box for too long. Now I don't itch anymore. I
Yep.
did what I wanted. I have complete freedom. And yeah, that's how basically All for One, when he just started, living on the streets, that's how All for One, got a hold of him and started basically grooming him to be his successor.
Yeah.
Even changed his name. It wasn't Shigaraki, it was,
Tenko Shimura.
yeah, Tenko Shimura, but now it's Shigaraki, just basically leaving the past behind him.
Yeah.
He even like repressed those memories until My Hero or My Villain Academia.
Yeah. That's like the end of season 5, right?
And he started getting his memories back. So what an origin story. Okay. So you see on Facebook and stuff these like these memes that are like, oh, here's a villain in origin story here, like just looking at something stupid. But this is a legitimate villain origin story.
Yeah, like anybody who that would happen, I can't imagine that happening to anybody else and them not becoming a villain.
For real,
You
dude.
know?
Like, and he was so happy after he killed his father. You see him smiling.
Yeah.
You see his hands covered in blood.
I think the only possible way he could have done that and not turned out to be a villain is if either his hero grandmother or All Might showed up right after that, before All for One got there, and they said, it's okay, we're gonna help you, instead of calling him a villain and trying to arrest him. Because there was a 50-50 shot that if any hero found him, they would just label him a villain and arrest him.
Yeah.
Even as a kid.
Because even if he just touches you, he could have killed
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
just trying to help him out. Even just regular civilians, if they would have like reached out their hand to help him out, he could
Right.
have accidentally or on purpose killed them, and then he would have been labeled a villain at that point. Because I don't think at that point they knew that he killed his whole family. He was just some kid that was living on the streets.
Yeah.
But All for One got there first. And he had probably been watching for a long time. What do you think?
Given that he was Shimura's grandson, I imagine probably so. He probably did have an eye on that family for a while.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if he just happened to be watching and just happened to notice that and then moved in because the opportunity presented itself, or would he have some way of knowing what the boy's quirk was going to be and assumed that something would happen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be. I don't know, but he moved in when he was at rock bottom, basically, and just built him back up into who he wanted him to be. And now he's like the new big bad of the series. All for One is still alive, right? But he's been captured and he's in villain
Still in prison?
Mhm. And he has fully stated that Shigaraki is his successor, and anything that they would have done for All for One, they need to do for Shigaraki.
But I just feel like, and I totally get that. Like, he wants Shigaraki to, like, succeed him as the leader of this movement. But, like, I just feel like, just break out of jail, bro.
Well, it's he stated, I'm pretty sure he stated this because his body's not long for this world, so he wants somebody to pick up the mantle.
I just don't get, he's so old already. Like, how is he not just immortal at this point? Because he's way older than Gran Torino.
Yeah, because
he's like he's one of the first people of quirks.
Yeah. He started One for All and All for One.
So that was how many generations have held on to it? 6 or 7, right?
Deku is number 9, I think.
Yeah, so imagine that every single holder of All for One gets at least a decade.
So
right?
hold on, Yeah.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up for sure, because I want to know exactly how long All for One's been around. Because I feel like by now he should just be. So, like, is he just a decrepit old man throwing hands with All Might, or does he have some kind of like?
Well, since he has a shit ton of quirks, I would imagine that some of those are helping him stay a little bit more. So it says he's over 100 years old. He was born before the existence of quirks. Hold on. So we'll say some Reddit users have estimated his age to be between 150 and 200 years old.
Wow. So how long have quirks been around then?
No. Let's see.
Because I think they gave us a year, didn't they?
MHA.
About 150 to 200 years
Okay,
before the story.
So if he was alive before quirks started, so he was alive when that Jesus baby was born, the glowing baby.
Yeah.
It started all the quirks.
So is that just glowing baby's quirk was just allowing other quirks to just changing like humanity?
I guess so. I guess it was kind of like a virus of sorts, you know, like a genetic mutation, literally a genetic mutation.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because he knows All Might is out of commission now, and that was basically like his biggest rival for like the past couple decades. That he's just like, all right, well, I've been through 8 of these people. The first one was my brother. You know, now I'm just.
I'd say it would have to be. Because if that was his brother, then his brother would have been around before quirks also.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing between the 8 or 9 successors, it's gone from like essentially like the year probably that quirks existed.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
I don't get, by this point, he should just be immortal, I feel like.
Yeah. But his body is so fucked up, and for some reason he can't regenerate it.
Never found a quirk that had just like healing, like Deadpool's healing.
I don't know.
That would have been my top priority, is finding somebody with a quirk like that.
Now with I think her name was Eerie, where she can rewind your quirk basically, or like rewind your body, your quirk, something like that. With Eerie, maybe she could have rewound his body so much that he wasn't like fully decrepit in his like just physical state.
Yeah,
where he doesn't even have a face anymore. But I don't know. I really don't know. You would think that there would be some sort of Deadpoolish, Wolverine-ish, you know.
Did you ever watch? This was many years ago. It was an NBC show, Heroes.
Yes, I did.
So
I love that show.
Yes,
I never
me
finished
too.
it, but I love that show.
So in season 3, you meet Peter and you meet Peter and Nathan's father, and like he's like old, decrepit, and like sickly. He's got like cancer, right? Like he is on death's door, quite literally. But his power is exactly the same as All for One, where he can absorb as many other people's powers as he physically can, and he keeps all of them. So he just gets more and more powerful throughout the years, and he collects powers from other people. So they bring him his like I guess employees, his agents or whatever, because he's like rich and very powerful at this point because he's been around for so long. They bring him a guy who has exactly like Deadpool or Wolverine's healing factor. Bring him to him. He puts his hand on him, takes his power for himself, and so he becomes he regenerates and becomes much more youthful again, and is like back in his prime almost. And the guy whose power he stole, because he's been alive for 300 years, turned into a pile of dust and bones. Like, why hasn't All for One done exactly that? There has to be somebody with a healing or regeneration or immortality quirk. There has to be.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
for 80% of the world to have quirks
for 200 years almost, someone has got to have something like that.
I don't know. Maybe he just has like.
See, me and him would have totally different priorities.
I mean, I don't know. And right now, he seems just quite content being in prison. You know what I mean?
Insane.
Because he knows his plan is already in full motion. Maybe he's just going to wait until after the plan happens to come back out and be like, hey, this either passed or failed, and now it's my turn again to capture the reins back. I don't know, but we know that, and this is to where I'm at, right? League of Villains was very small, right?
Yeah.
Of course, they did some big things, and they're well known, but they're like still like what, only 5 or 6 people deep,
Yeah, well,
maybe a little more
even by season
after
3,
Stain.
well, even by season 3, when they're when all the people on my shirt are part of the
Yeah.
league, like they get big. Their group, every time they make a public attack against the heroes, like, or the school, the next time you see them, they're bigger. There's more members
Yeah.
every time.
But you know, the main guys that like meet up and hang out, it's just them, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's really what, you know, the people or the heroes and stuff were after. But this new, I guess it wasn't so new, because the leader, basically his father, started it. The Liberation Army, basically,
Yeah, what is that?
they believe that quirk users should be free to use their quirks however they want, no restrictions. Yeah, now you see how kind of Shigaraki got to be the commander. So they captured their broker, right? You know, the broker that comes in, and he basically, the broker is the guy that brought Toga in, and I forgot the Stitch looking guy. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can remember.
The guy with the blue flames. So brought them in. Yeah, that's their broker. So the Liberation Army basically captured the broker to lure the League of Villains out. They literally had a small city to themselves. I mean, it was like suburbs and a small city, but all of it was just for the Liberation Army.
I mean, for 100,000 people.
Yeah, there was 100,000
You would need a
people.
lot of space.
And while this is happening, Hawks is, like I said, undercover, and Deku, Oto, Bakugo did their work studies with Endeavor.
Okay.
So while they were in the work study with Endeavor, Hawks comes in and gives them like the Liberation Army's book, and is like, why don't you read up on this and blah, blah, blah. Basically saying like there was a secret message in there because they're watching me. I can't just tell you like, hey, this is what's happening. So he like highlighted some like notes in there, and it was like the second or third character of each paragraph that Endeavor read, that he figured out like, oh God, it's like 100 and some thousand strong, and like in 4 months there's going to be an attack. And that's the whole reason why they did this work study. This most recent one was to get the students more experience, because they know that they're going to have to rely on the students too.
Interesting how far the society has come just in a few seasons, because in season 3, when All for One and One for All are having their big fight, and the League and the Nomus are fighting against all the other heroes and stuff, they are so adamant about the students not getting involved whatsoever that they even put them into dorms in the next season to prevent them, to keep them as safe as possible. And now they're pretty much, this is getting so big, there's no way you can avoid fighting, so we have to get you as ready as possible.
Because Hawks keeps saying we need more manpower, So basically the commissioner or whatever, like the police,
the bear,
started, or basically said like, we need these work studies back, because, and the students don't know this yet while they're doing the work studies. They don't even know that the war is coming, but the pros do.
Okay.
But there are some pros.
That seems a little messed up.
The reason why Hawks was basically doing this undercover assignment is because there are heroes that are in the Liberation Army. They're like
legit.
They're like as double agents. Yeah.
Oh, as double agents.
Well, no, they're pretending to be heroes, but they're
actually members of the
kind of villains.
Right? Gotcha.
And so Hawks is pretending to be one of those people, basically get
Okay,
a
so they
surveillance.
know that he's Hawks, the hero.
The number 2 hero.
So they think that he is a double agent for them, but
Yeah.
really he's a double agent for the
Yep,
heroes.
100%.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And he's even like become friends with Twice and like is like doing like teaching him like the liberation like philosophy and stuff like that. Because Twice like loves Hawks. So even though Hawks is basically just using Twice to get information.
Wow. So they're
So-
friends. That's kind of
Well, Twice is friends with Hawks. Hawks is not friends with Twice, if that makes sense. Yeah. Hawks is just using Twice for information.
not my buddy Twice.
Yeah, no, Twice is so funny. He's basically, I was telling him, he's basically Deadpool. He is hilarious. But he got over his trauma, and now he can make like 1,000 copies of himself.
Oh hell yeah.
But anyway, so after a huge battle, and I won't talk about the battle and spoil it for you yet, but after a huge battle, Shigaraki becomes the commander of the Liberation Army, changes the name to something Paranormal Liberation Army instead of the League of Villains, just to make it more inclusive, to take villains out of it. And then he makes his, the guys on your shirt, the ones he's closest with in the League of Villains, he makes them the lieutenants of, like, basically they have different factions within the entire army.
Okay.
And so they're like in charge of the army. And then this guy that started, I forgot his freaking name. I might have to look it up. This guy who's now like basically the CEO of it, he's just basically listening to Shigaraki now because he's scared of Shigaraki. He had to cut off his own legs to save himself from getting disintegrated.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And I guess his quirk isn't growing back limbs, so
Nope.
he's just legless now.
He uses stress. He uses built-up stress to basically become bigger and more powerful. It is... Okay, this is, of course, saying Shigaraki.
Yep.
This guy, let's see. The original Destro. Destro was the original guy. That's him. But his son, I'm pretty sure he died. His son, Redestro, he named himself Redestro. He was basically the leader of the Liberation Army, and he fought Shigaraki and all that, and lost, and so now Shigaraki's in charge. So this is basically the start of the huge war that you have been talking about.
Yeah.
So it's coming, dude. And I'm on season 6. We still have this whole season, and then another season before we get to the season that's not even out yet.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to be where the war is. Right?
No. No, the war is going to already be kicked up into full gear by season 7.
Oh.
Like that was what happened in this last anime season. Okay. So like because there's a scene where they're going to end up getting assistance from the United States. They're going to have to get reinforcements from the U.S.
Not just Captain Celebrity.
Not just Captain Celebrity. But I don't even know if he's still around by then, honestly.
Yeah, might have gotten fired.
Or killed.
Or killed. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, because he might go down like a real hero in Vigilantes, that would be fitting. But there's a hero, I think they're the number 1 hero in the United States, Stars and Stripes. They are very similar, like costume, color scheme to like All Might, and they kind of have a similar kind of like personality to All Might's like
All Might is very
American.
Yeah.
Well, he did a lot of his like heroing in America, like internship. I think he did his internship in America.
So I didn't know that or pay attention to that.
So I don't even think you've learned that yet.
I guess not, because I had no idea.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Like I'm pretty sure he did either his internship or something. Like he did something where he was in America for a few years, and that's why like all of his attacks are like states. Why his color scheme is so like USA
America-fied.
Yeah. But yeah, so like Stars and Stripes, there's a point. And I won't give any other spoilers about the war, and especially I don't know, a lot. I just know a few things, but like, I can't wait to see Stars and Stripes appear on the battlefield with a fleet of U.S. bombers.
Oh, that would be so sick.
they're going to be riding on top of one of the bombers flying into the battlefield.
That's crazy. So, I mean,
yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
But there's one more thing that I'll talk about, and this is about the main show. I didn't know we'd have this much time to talk about the main show just because Vigilantes, but that episode wasn't that great.
Yeah,
so.
there wasn't a whole lot of content to talk about.
Let's talk about Endeavor again. I talked about him a little bit last time, but he is, like I said, trying his best to learn for what he did to his family and his wife. And like they even had like dinner together, and Endeavor and his then Shoto and then his other son and then his daughter. Forgot their names, which his other son absolutely despises Endeavor. And apparently he had a third son, Toyo, that they blame Endeavor on his death, basically.
Okay.
And I think it was because Endeavor was pushing him really hard, like he was pushing Shoto when he was a kid. But, you know, and Endeavor even said, I don't want forgiveness. I don't need forgiveness. I just want to atone. And he keeps talking to himself, and this kind of like hurts me as a father because I've had these moments too. You know, no matter how good of a father you are, you always wonder if you're doing enough, right?
Yeah.
Or like you have like depressing moments when you're like, you know, would my family just be happier if I, you know, left, if I let them be, or you know what I mean? So he has this recurring dream that his entire family, including his wife, is sitting at the dinner table in the house that he built, smiling and laughing and eating dinner, but he is never at the table. Endeavor's never at the table. And he's like, what can I do for my family? He always says that. And at the very end of one of the last episodes, he told his daughter, who really wants the family to be back together, that I'm going to build you guys a new house so that your mother can leave, you know, like the hospital or wherever she's at, or like the mental facility, whatever you want to call it. And all you guys can live together. And she was like, well, what about you? He said, I'm just going to stay here. You know, I've found that it'd be better just to let you guys be and me be out of the way. And that kind of hurts. Being a father, you know. But as of right now, it's true because, you know, his wife has so much trauma from how much of an asshole he was and like all the abuse.
For sure.
And her ending up like spilling boiling water on her son, Shoto, because it reminded her of Endeavor, his one side of his face, you know. They blame it all on Endeavor. And so he's just like, I'm just going to take myself out.
But he had a normal looking face.
Shoto?
Yeah.
No, he's got a scar on his.
No, he had a normal looking face.
Oh, yeah. But
I'm
he
saying
still had a fireside and
his hair, but like his face.
Yeah.
Did his face look
he
different?
had one blue eye and one. So his fireside has Endeavor's like blue eye.
Okay.
And then his mother's side, the eye side, has his mother's eye, which is like kind of like gray.
So, okay, so we could have solved this with some contact lenses, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, probably.
Like, because what I'm saying is by burning his side is actually creating a constant reminder of like the burn would make me associate that with Endeavor, because most people before the revelation that it was his mother, of course, assumed it was Endeavor who did that.
And now, which makes it more ironic, now after Endeavor's last fight with a very intelligent Nomu, now he has a scar on the same side of his face.
Ooh, sick.
Yep. But anyway, I just wanted to leave it at that. You know, it's kind of heart-wrenching for me to see that because, you know, as a father, and I'm sure fathers out there, we all have those moments when you feel like you're not doing enough, when you feel like, you know, just taking yourself out of it will make your family happier. Obviously it won't, but that's what Endeavor is going through right now. And I can kind of relate to that. but I just wanted to kind of end with that. I'm sure we're going to see more of kind of a redemption with Endeavor, which I'm happy about. I don't know if you are, because he just so much reminds me of Vegeta. Of course, Vegeta's a way better father.
But is he?
His whole, well, maybe not, because he does he doesn't beat the shit out of Bulma though.
No, that's what I was say. No, but he didn't even like hug or hold his son until he was 9 years old.
As far as Saiyans, he's better than Goku is as a father. But he reminds me of Vegeta, and of course, Vegeta is my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z.
And voiced by All Might.
And voiced by All Might. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Chris Sabat voices All Might and Vegeta in the English dubs.
Okay. So
you never heard that?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't.
Yo, go. Okay, just one day, just one day. Just pull up a random episode of Dragon Ball where Vegeta does a lot of talking. Watch a whole episode of a lot of Vegeta talking, and then pull up an episode of, say, like All Might versus the Nomu or All Might versus One for All, and really listen to his voice. You will only hear Vegeta.
Gotcha.
I'm so serious. Yeah, I can't hear him talk without hearing Vegeta.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Endeavor Redemption, giant war between the heroes and including the students and the Liberation Army. Talk about more vigilantes. Hopefully, Knuckleduster gets a little bit more closure.
Man, I'm really
with Queen Bee.
Really hoping, that something big happens.
Or get more context of what's happening. So yeah, but we're at time. We'll have a lot more to talk about next week, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I'll keep binging the main show, and we'll keep up to date on Vigilantes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we might have a new schedule here soon, but we'll let you guys know what's going on with that.
Yep.
But I appreciate you guys. Thank you again for the follow.
Yeah, thank you, man. We appreciate it.
We will see you guys next time.
See you.